Welcome to Andy Decodes. Sit back and enjoy as we dive deeper down into the rabbit hole and into the unknown.
Hello, welcome to today's show. I'm joined by not just E.T., but E.T.'s master, Mr. Eric Mintel. Thank you for joining. Oh, so good. So, how's it going before we start?
Well, I'll tell you what, man, it's been going great. I know it's been a while since we've done this, and I know you're busy. I'm busy. This year has probably been the busiest for us at Eric Mintel Investigates. We've been doing a lot of videos. We've been doing a lot of investigations, and in October, I'm going to be releasing about 6 new videos that we have been shooting over the last few months. Yeah. Which will blow people away. Everything from UFOs to ghosts to Bigfoot, Dogman, you name it, we've been doing it. And have had encounters with these things and caught on video.
I'm so jealous. You have no idea. I go out and I get somebody walking down the street. I'm like, is that a shadow person? Is that or not? Someone with a shopping. And that's it. That's all you get.
Well, we've been into some areas that have been like really, really just high activity.
Yeah. So have you been going out of places away from where you live? Have you been like traveling?
Yeah, we've been traveling. I mean, we've been, traveling wise this year. Let me see. This year we didn't go to. We usually go out to Elkhorn every year to do a video. Yeah. And but we have not like a follow up on the Dogman. But we didn't do that this year. So the videos that we've been doing have been kind of like in this general area and into New Jersey, and as far as middle Pennsylvania. So we've been doing a little bit of traveling that way. And but now for this coming year, we've got a lot of other traveling coming up.
Cool. So quick question. I can't remember if I asked you last time. Have you been to Gettysburg? You most probably have.
I haven't been, but Dominic, our spirit medium, he has. And when he was there, he literally was like bum rushed by the spirits that were there.
Really?
There was so much energy happening around him that he could not, he couldn't tune in on one specific thing. And a similar thing just happened to us on this video that I'm finishing up right now for the Percy Park.
Yeah.
Very like it was almost like a ping pong effect of paranormal energy, and come to find out that there is a lot of crazy energy happening at this park, which this is another video that we're going to be releasing that people are going to absolutely be blown away by.
Right. So when you go out investigating, what are the two, besides the camera, obviously, what are the 2 most important bits of equipment that you take with you?
Well, having a spirit medium with us is really important. So Dominic, or we'll use another woman by the name of Julie Krause, who these guys are awesome because I won't say anything as far as like the history of these places go. And when we get there, they're literally like right pinpointed to all of the paranormal hotspots that I've never told them about, but they'll feel that and they'll go right to those energies. So having spirit medium is one. And then another thing we use is a magnetometer. Magnetometer, you know what that is? It's basically it's reading the electromagnetic energy of the Earth.
Oh, right.
And so you've got some electromagnetic energy or residual energy. It's going to detect some residual energies, but it's been very, very helpful in our research because of when Dominic is feeling something or Julie's feeling some kind of energy that's around us, we flip that thing on, and sure enough, it validates that there is energy happening right here.
Yeah.
And if there, let's also say this, that magnetometer, if you have lights on or a light switch, that's also going to go off by that or by camera equipment. But the lights are off. There's no electricity. We've been in places like a 1759 farmhouse that had no electricity, and this thing was going off the charts. So it was detecting something. And then what happened right after that is the owner of this farmhouse got bum rushed by the spirit and had a meltdown right on camera. So it was, and that was our hallowed grounds of the homestead video. I'll tell you. So things like that happen all the time. The third thing that we use is an EVP, basically a voice recorder, that'll detect, that's going to detect sounds that aren't, able to get to our ears. And, and those are really it. The other ones, like, we don't use REM pods. We don't use spirit boxes. We sure as hell don't use the apps that are on the phone.
Nope, preloaded.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like, but the spirit boxes and the REM pods, they're going to detect that frequency if, say, a camera is nearby. So a lot of these shows I see going off, and then you've got, it's because they've got high-end camera equipment there. Yeah, it's going to go off. So things like that. So we try to keep it very, very low tech, and really grassroots effort as far as, like, truth-based investigating.
Yeah. No, cheers. So when you go up, oh, sorry, go on.
Oh, no, I was going to say, no, go ahead. I'll tell you something else too.
All right. I was just going to ask you, so when you go out, do you go and, like, do you research the exact spot where you're going to go and investigate, like do a risk assessment? Or do you go out and just go walking about until you pick something up and then kind of hang around the area? Or do you do a bit of both?
Well, I try to research it before we go, because I mean, our time is precious. So, and plus you want to know what you're getting into. Whereas I will do a lot of that research ahead of time. Now, I wish I would have done more research on when we were in Elkhorn for the Beast of Bray Road. I did a little bit of research, but didn't really know too much about it. And because of that, we didn't have any protection. And we actually ran into this creature on the night of October 3rd. So this thing made, and I, because I went out there thinking we're not going to see anything. I went out on the skeptical side saying, well, look, we're going to hear some great stories from folks. We're going to get some great, we're going to get a great documentary video. Not ever thinking once that we would have this encounter. And this thing, I mean, we had a trifecta of paranormal activity that night. And I probably had told you this before, but I mean, it was the first thing that happened was a UFO came over. It was a solid orb of light that went over the field that we were in. We were in this 35 acre hayfield, and you could see other planes around it. And you could just see this solid orb of light going over. And we're trying to figure it out. We got it on video. And all of a sudden it did a quick 45-degree angle and blinked out.
Wow.
And that was the first thing. And then the second one was when we heard this howl. The howl that this thing made was like a man. To me, it was like a man screaming in this field. It was this low guttural scream, growl, yell combination, and it didn't pitch. It was very monotone. So if for all intents and purposes, this is a dog man. It sounded like a wolf dog combination. It was this, but it was. So for months after that, we're trying to figure out sounds. We're listening on YouTube, trying to figure out all of these different sounds. Nothing came close to it. And they're still happening out there. There is definitely something there.
See, I had something similar, and it was as soon as we stopped recording, it was in a local cemetery, but it was a female. So same sort of thing. It sounded like a female animal of some sort, but you could hear the human vocals in it as well. Yeah, and I've never heard anything like it since.
You've got things like that could sound like that. You could sound like it. You have things like foxes that could sound like that.
Oh, yeah.
Screech owls and things. people were saying, oh, it was probably an owl. It was probably a fox. I said, no, it's definitely not any of that, because I've heard
No.
those things, and this is definitely not what that was. So yeah, there is, cemeteries, it's tough because we always think that a lot of people want to go investigate cemeteries, and that's fine, but there's really nothing there. They're not
No.
there. The spirits aren't there. They're going to be inhabiting areas that they liked to be in. Say, that's why you've got, like, over, especially in England, you've got so many awesome old pubs that people are seeing these spirits in all the time. And that's probably why they liked being there, and we've never seen anything malevolent or experienced anything on the malevolent side. I always thought that, look, if there's something haunting there, people are seeing the spirit, if they liked being there. And that's probably why they're frequenting those places more and more.
Yeah. No, thank you. I was going to say, when you go out and, like, do you say Dominic?
Yeah.
Dominic, and he picks up on what's going on. Do you ever pick up on any of that?
I don't. And I wish I did, but he's great as far as, like, when he's going on an investigation, like what I love about this is we'll go in with one story that we know, right? When we do some research, we'll know about a particular event that happened there. But then what happens when he gets there, all of a sudden another story happens. I'm sure you've had this happen too, where you think you're going into one spot and you're going to go investigate one area. All of a sudden something happens that he's tuning in on another spirit. That's actually, it's another part of the story that's kind of we're putting the puzzle pieces together.
Yeah.
And that's another reason why I love the paranormal investigations, is because it's like detective work. You're putting all these these pieces together. It's fascinating, man. And it's like just really, really wild stuff that we've caught.
Yeah.
And just the dog man situation was one. We just recently, now everybody's UFO crazy now with everything going on UFO wise. So we had a huge UFO flap here in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, and from, I guess, the end of last year all through this year until about May or June. And I just did a video called UFOs over Bucks County. And I'll tell you what, man, people are sending me video, drawing what they're seeing. I mean, phenomenal stuff. And I love it because people are, like, not afraid to come on camera and talk about what they're seeing.
Yeah.
It's great. I think we're in a good period. We're in a good paranormal period right now because people are seeing all these things.
They're sharing what's going on.
Yeah.
Whereas before it was a bit, I can't say anything.
Exactly.
Going to get the ridicule and all that.
Right. And now that the government's coming out saying, hey, folks, these UFOs are real. What you're seeing is real. We just don't know what they are.
Yeah. Yep. So true. So going back to the question that I asked you before. So when you go out to whatever location, do you then just find a spot and wait for it to come to you?
Not really. I mean, it's funny. Here's the weirdest thing about when we go out there. Within 15 minutes, something happens. Every single time. I mean, I kid you not, every time. I'll give you, for instance, now, September 2nd, we went out to the Pine Barrens in New Jersey.
Yeah.
And we did investigation follow-up on Bigfoot in the New Jersey Pine Barrens. We did one actually the week we got home from Elkhorn in 2021. We did a follow-up down there. We did the first video in the Pine Barrens on October 11th of 2021. Now we just did this follow-up September 2nd of this year. We just got down there, literally got down there within 15 minutes, set up base camp in the same area that we were in 2021. And one of the researchers, Art, he just said, I don't know if it's because we're talking here or what, but my heart is really racing right now. So as he says that, I hear a branch crack right behind us. And I whipped around like this. And here I saw the branch of a tree right there moving like this, like something just hit it. Right. Then I looked, then you could see two yellow eyes standing there. And then boom, and then they just disappeared. They went shoot like that. And we heard this thing, whatever it was, running back down into the swamp. And you could hear it. We got it all on video. We got it on the audio that was there.
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe it, man. I mean, it was literally the more activity than we've ever experienced there. And we went over to look, and there was an impression right by the tree. So something was there by the tree listening to what we were saying.
Yeah. Did you get a photo of the impression?
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
And we didn't
can
have.
Can you make out what it is?
It just looks like an impression. You know, we looked at it. We were trying to look at it to see if there was toes or anything. But right now, it just looks like an impression. Now, the other problem with that area is not when we were down there, but about 2 months prior to that, that whole area was on fire. They had a forest fire down there, and it's a cedar swamp down there. So you could see the trees were all charred and stuff when we were there. So that impression could have been a boot print by one of the workers there.
Yeah.
But I don't know. And we didn't really get any, we didn't have any plaster to make any cast or anything like that. But Eric Spinner, who is the actual Bigfoot researcher in that area, has got lots of casts, very strange footprints, hair samples, all kinds of weird stuff. So that particular case, I'm editing. That's the last video that I'm editing. We're going to do a Halloween premiere on that one. And I'll tell you what, man, it was crazy night.
They're the best, though, aren't they?
I know.
When you get them.
And we're not even looking for it. That's the thing. I go down there, not look. See, if you have a preconceived thing, like you're going to see something, it never happens.
No.
You know?
Totally agree.
I like to go into these things again, like a little on the skeptical side, like, okay, well, let's see what happens here. I'm not going to force anything.
Yeah.
But I really believe that Dominic is the contributing factor here, because wherever we're on an investigation, he's bringing them in like a magnet somehow.
Yeah. Has he ever tried to connect with them on a mental level?
Oh yeah. And what we came away with this investigation, I know this is going to sound out there, but what Dominic has a feeling is going on is that Art, the researcher, and that Bigfoot are somehow linked together. Like I don't want to make a joke of this, but like E.T. and Elliot, you know how they're like, synced together. So it's kind of like that situation. And why his heart was racing, I thought, this Bigfoot is watching us and getting nervous, and that's why. And Art's kind of
and he's picking up.
Yeah, he's like looking through his eyes.
Well, that's the thing, because one of the questions I was going to ask is, it's the same old question that everyone asks everyone anyway. What's the connection with all this phenomena? But I've been thinking about this over the last few weeks. What if we humans, we're part of this phenomena, yet we don't know because of everything's been diluted throughout time? We're part of this phenomena, but now, for whatever reason, we're coming back into our own and reconnecting with it. But with the heart racing and that, because we don't know what it is, we don't know what's going on. Yeah,
here's the thing is, I think we're evolving. I think we're still an evolving species. That was the other thing too. Like a couple of theories have been like, the aliens at Roswell, right? They were supposed to be like, the theory was that they were us from the future.
Yes.
And somehow, somewhere along the line, humans were able to work with time travel. So we traveled into the future, and this is what people are seeing now. They're seeing futuristic vehicles somehow coming in and out of our reality.
Yeah.
Are there interdimensional portals around the world? Yeah. Oh, totally. I believe that big time. And I think more areas are prone to more paranormal activity than other areas. And I think certainly the case at Lee Hampel's hayfield in Elkhorn, Wisconsin, I think that is one of those areas that's a portal.
Yeah.
Not only because of that, what we experienced, but some of this, thousands and I kid you not when I say thousands of video, thousands of photos that he has got from that property of strange UFO lights. It's like another Skinwalker Ranch, you know, but it's
Yeah.
better than that. It's better than that.
Yeah,
Crazy
if you
stuff.
can, yeah. So with all this stuff being connected, what most ridiculous question ever? What do you think it is? What do you think the
So
connection is?
you know, in our research, I think there are just certain people that are picked to
Yes.
experience these paranormal events, whether it's ghosts, UFOs, Bigfoot, Dogman, whatever. I think there are certain people that are either their antenna is more attuned to the situations that they're in, or that they're just somehow chosen to experience these things. Now
Yeah.
that's the biggest question right there. Why? How? That's what we don't know. That's why when we go on these investigations, as you know, I'm sure too, you never leave with any answer. It's always an ongoing, like, what is
Tell me
this?
about it. Yeah, it
So
is.
it's always an unanswered question, and that's why another reason why we love it too is because it opens you up to other possibilities of thinking.
Yeah. I'll just tell you quickly. It only happened a couple of weeks ago. I was out doing my job, and I was in a place called Leicester in like Midlands part of England. And as I'm pulling up on the right hand side of the road, there's a man with a dog crossing the road. As he got to the other side of the road, he was now with she, completely different person.
Wow.
There was nobody else about, no other traffic. But then as they're stood on the same side of the road as me, they're staring at me. The only thing I could think of was they might think that I'm delivering to their house. So are they waiting for me to get out of the van to get the package to then walk up to where they were? Anyway, so I get out. I'm not going to their house. It's nothing to do with them. Go to the house that I was going to, get it signed for, get the name. So as I'm doing all this, I keep looking to my left, and that person just stood there like, just big wide eyes, just staring at me. So I walk down, get back in the van. I look up, gone, nowhere to be seen. So I drive up, like crawling like 2 miles an hour, like literally hanging out the window, checking to see if they've gone up the path to go in the door. Because the time it took them to cross the road, there's no way they was running into their house. And nothing. So I'm looking to see if there's like a little alleyway between the houses. Nothing. Nowhere to be seen. They had a little white, like Scotty dog, and that neither of them
Wow.
vanished. But the fact that it was a man, and the road was only 20 foot wide, it was only like a narrow road, and by the time they got across, it was a female. And
That's
I thought,
what.
I've got to be seeing things. Have I had too much coffee? I
Did
mean,
you
it's
have
just
a little too many hot toddies there, buddy?
no, don't go
I
out
know,
that
man.
much. No, don't drink. I
That's
have the odd couple of drinks like a weekend and that, but I don't get wrecked. Not like
no.
back in the day.
No,
So
listen, I believe you, because you know what? The thing is, there is stuff like that that does happen a lot.
yeah,
You know, and you know, who knows what the answer is? You know, could it have been something? Did you maybe think it was, did you think it was a man? Maybe it was
well,
really a woman.
the reason that I knew it was a man is because there's temporary lights up, waste of time. Anyway, that's a different story. So I'd come around through these lights, I'm looking for the house, and it was the next one on the right, and there's a gap between the cars. So I thought, I'll pull up. But as I'm pulling up, I'm looking, and the guy that's crossing the road, I thought, oh, he looks like Dave. And Dave's a guy that I used to work with about 30 years ago. I was like in my early 20s. And Dave was one of the guys in the warehouse that I used to work with. I thought, oh, he looks like Dave. I won't say his surname. And then by the time they crossed the road, I was like,
Wow.
not
That's
even
wild.
Dave anymore. He's Davette.
He's not Dave anymore. He's Dina.
Yeah. And it was
Wow.
just, and all that day, I was like, Joe, just going through it. And even now, I'm still thinking about it. It's like, how and why did it happen? I'll probably
Andy,
never know.
Andy, I'm telling you right now, that's the same thing, a similar thing that happened to me.
Yeah.
You know, sort of similar. I don't know if I ever told you this story, years ago, I was going to a gig, and this was February of 1996, and I was on my way to a gig for my jazz quartet, and it was February, so it's cold over here, and I'm going down the road, and it's dark because it gets dark early. I'm going down the road. I'm going at a good clip. All of a sudden, a deer, boom, runs out, and I hit it. There's just no way I could have missed it. It was just that quick. So I felt awful, but I hit this thing, and we both slid. The deer and I are going about 60 feet together, right? Sliding as I'm wailing on the brake. So no one else is on the road. Nobody else, thank God, or else I would have gotten ahead on it. So, and there's nothing around. I mean, it's all woods. So I'm looking and nothing around. I'm looking at this deer. The deer's in my headlights, and I'm like, oh man. And I start going up to the deer, and then I turn around, and the car is facing me now, like with the headlights. And I hear out of the woods, I hear a woman's voice say, "How's your hands?" And I'm a piano player. Let's get that straight. So I turned around, and I saw this like woman in white came out of the woods, grabs this 200-pound deer by the ear, and just drags it off the road like it's nothing. And then said to me, "You better get in your car and get out of here." Or she says, "Get off the road." So I got in the car, and I didn't see her. You know, it was the kind of thing like when you see someone in your headlights, like, you know how that's blurry, like the lights, affecting your eyes.
It drowns everything out that you're looking at.
Right. So that's what I was thinking. And I got in the car, told the guys what happened. They were freaked out too. I went back the next day thinking that there was a house or something there. Maybe it was somebody out of the woods.
Yeah.
Not anything back there. Nothing there. No houses, no nothing. So, and the years since then, I've like, what is that? So I always thought that was my guardian angels kind of story, you know?
Yeah.
So
have you ever been back? Have you ever been back that way?
Oh, I've been back several times. Yeah, I passed by that place a lot. And still, I mean, there's houses now built up, being that it's so many years later. But never experienced that again. My father had a lot of really like incredible paranormal experiences. He came home one night when we used to live across, you know, the Delaware River where Washington crossed the Delaware. You know, like
I love seeing it in the movies.
Over here when Washington crossed the Delaware, he was like, it was one of these things that that the Delaware River is a famous river here. So we used to live right across from the river. He came home late one night. This is in the 1970s. He came home late one night, sitting on the front porch. He was cooking a steak on the little grill that we had. And he looked over at the river and saw a woman in white just floating, like walking on the river. And then as she came into his vision, right, he said she turned her head. Now she's like a half a mile away. Like, maybe not that far, but almost not three-quarter, like, is a quarter mile. It's like,
quite a third of a mile.
Like a quarter mile away. And man, when she turned her head to look at him, her face came right up to his. And then she turned back.
Zoomed right in.
Right in. And then she turned away and it went back. And then she kept floating. And she was saying, and he could hear her echoing through the valley there, "I'm going home. I'm going home." And you could hear her like voice through the valley. And he, on his deathbed, still told that story and never wavered from that. So stuff like that, I grew up listening to and hearing, and I had my own UFO experience too in 2016 with my girlfriend. We were going over a bridge, and I don't know if I told you this one or not, but we're going over a bridge from Pennsylvania over into New Jersey. And all of a sudden, out of the corner of my eye, I see 5 orange orbs about 300 feet above the bridge. They just appeared out of nowhere. And a lot of these orange orbs are what we're seeing on TV that a lot of people are seeing.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at this thing and I'm like, I am fascinated. So within this few seconds, I'm thinking to myself, well, there's a restaurant. My rational brain's going, well, there's a restaurant there. Could these be Chinese lanterns? Maybe they set them off for something. But this was like a Wednesday night, and it was cold. It was like February.
Just like a random day. Nothing,
Yeah,
nothing
exactly.
special.
Yeah, so there was nothing going on. And so then one by one, it looked like they did like a little search pattern over the river. And then one
Yeah.
by one, they just disappeared one by one. And I was able to get one shot. I was able to get I picked one picture of that. I'll send that to you.
Yeah. Oh, nice one. Cheers.
Phenomenal. And we're still wrapping our heads around them. My girlfriend said the week after that, I was on a gig. I wasn't home. She was home. She looked out we lived in a farmhouse at that point, and it was way back from the road. And there was a hayfield in front. She said that in that field, she saw like this bouncing ball of light coming over the hay in the front of the house and then took off. So I don't know
was
what
that
it is,
orange
man.
as well?
It was white.
Right. No, because there's a guy who contacted me from where I used to live in a place called Milton Keynes. He was watching one of the shows that I did with Kaz Clark, and he was saying that he lived in a farmhouse, and there's an orange orb about the size of a mini, and it's just seeing it coming towards the house, and he got that scared. He hid behind the curtains. Doesn't know how long he was there, but by the time he come out, he looked and it had gone. He thinks it had gone over the house.
Wow.
And it's just very similar to what you said, because he said he could see it getting closer and closer, and it's just he's trying to work out the size to how close it was and like all the perspectives about it.
Yeah.
And he said he got to the point, and it's not that far from where I had a lot of my encounters. It just reminded me of that.
Yeah, it's amazing, man. I mean, there's stuff out there, and I look at it this way. At the end of the day, when we're getting reports from people that are seeing UFOs and all kinds of stuff, I always say, and the people are seeing something. People are at the end of the day, they're seeing something. We need to find out what it is and try to capture it on video and try to document as much as we can, because it's just a fascinating time to be in right now.
Yeah. Well, there's another one. There's a guy called Alex Lovelock. I don't know if you know him. He has his own YouTube channel. Well, I met up with him and we went to Rendlesham Forest and we went to the actual UFO landing site.
Wow.
So we're stood leaning. You got the tree and there's a branch that kind of comes down. And it's like just the right height to lean on and have a chat.
Yeah.
So we're leaning like that, sunny day, bit all shaded because of the trees. And I seen an orb just go like that across the ground in front of us, and I thought it was a reflection of his watch.
Wow.
And then about 2 minutes later, he went, "Oh, did you see that orb?" And we're both watching it. And I went, "I seen one a minute ago. I thought it was your watch." Then realised we're both like that. If it was a watch, it'd been pointing up in the sky anyway. We'd have had to have it bent down at a certain angle, and you'd be doing that with your arm to make the movement of what the orbs were doing. And these were like within, I'd say, 3-4 minutes of each other. And there's about the size of a tumbler glass. So a little bit smaller than a tennis ball.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's pretty wild, man. I mean, I spoke to Charles Hall, the one guy that was actually there that night, documenting that entire thing. Phenomenal, man. He was just a phenomenal guy to talk to, and just he has never wavered once from that story, like what this guy's experienced. So that would be one thing, man. I would love to get down there. How far is that from you?
Just over 2 hours. It's about 100 miles.
Okay.
So I'm supposed to be going down again in. It's going to be November now, and we're going to do an evening there. The thing is, you can't do any overnight parking, and they have the park rangers coming round checking all the little like parking, like the paid parking area. There are areas you can go, which are just like slightly off the road, but you can only get like 1 or 2 vehicles in there. So it's like because they're like right out the way. Depends how safe they're going to be. So we're a bit about it.
Will they allow you to be in there at night or no?
Well, when you pay for a ticket, it gives you till midnight. It's like set price, so I think it's £6 all day, and it's like 11:59 p.m. So
That's cool,
But
man. That would be great
yeah.
to be in there. That would be, if I could get over there, we definitely would do an investigation over there
Oh,
for sure.
yeah. That is literally, I come out from where I live, get onto the road called the A14, and just follow that. Go east straight down the A14 for about 80 miles, turn off, and it's about another 15 miles off track.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it is a place. You don't say you don't really feel energy. When we was walking around, we felt like there was stuff going on, people watching us. There's one particular part where you park up, you cross the road, and you go into the forest where they've got the replica UFO. That's probably about a little bit less than quarter of a mile where the actual landing site was, because where that landing site is now, there's a fence that's splitting it off the farmer's field.
Okay.
But as we're walking down this path, I've never seen so many of all these following creatures: butterflies, dragonflies, crickets, and grasshoppers. The floor was literally moving with the grasshoppers and crickets. You could
Really?
stop, and yeah. And I was saying to Alex, like, all the times he's ever been down there, he's never noticed that many. You'd be walking, and there'd be dragonflies just missing your head. You'd have 4 or 5 butterflies land on you, and it's just on one, probably about 200-yard stretch of footpath.
Wow.
It's like dirt track.
Are the buildings still there too? For the
Not where we was.
Okay.
But there's so many different parts to Rendlesham.
What about the lighthouse? Is that still on there? Is that still out there?
Lighthouse. Yeah, I think that's further down in a place called Shingle Street.
Or the Orford. I think it's Orfordness Lighthouse.
Orford.
Because
that's I don't. I'm not that well up on the area. I've driven through it loads of times, but I don't know the actual village names.
They're yeah, I don't know if that was like where because the buildings that Charles Halt and all those guys were in, are they still there? The military buildings or no?
Yeah. So you've got Woodbridge military base. There's another one that I can never remember the name of, and that's the one on the other side.
Is that still active there or no?
Yeah. So I deliver to I go on Woodbridge, and the job I do, I deliver on there.
Wow.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff. And then we're walking further down, and there's a certain part, and Alex was saying that's where you used to see like shadow people and that. So I got my digital EMF reader. It's like a trimeter. It's got the 3 different energy fields. So I place it on the tray about head height, and it just doesn't light up, but the numbers start going up, and I just rub it up and down on the back of the tray, and they just get higher and higher.
Wow.
And there's nothing there. There's no cables. There's no pipeline. There's no There's no buildings there. Nothing. It's like right in the middle of Rendlesham. There's nothing.
That's amazing, man. I mean, there's a lot of energy there. There's a lot of history. A lot of stuff happened there. So yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah. Oh, it's Orfordness Lighthouse.
Yes.
I'll just put it up. There we go.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then in the investigation, so they demolished it. They demolished it. So a lot of times, like what they were saying that the guys were seeing was that lighthouse light. Yeah, it was the light. But it wasn't. It was that light was moving in the forest. It couldn't have been the light.
No, because if you watch a light, it just goes round. It just rotates 360, and it'd be the same light each time. They're looking at something that was about 12 foot off the ground, 12, 24 foot.
Yep.
It's tree height. So yeah, probably about 24 foot. So you're going to notice something that's in between trees and something that's quarter of a mile, half a mile away on the coast.
And when Charles Halt looked at it, and they all looked at it, they said it was like an eye in the forest, like winking at you, this red orb. And all of a sudden it broke up into 5 pieces, and those 5 pieces turned into UFOs. And it was just,
I didn't know that.
Very, very strange. Yeah. Unsolved mysteries. You probably find it on Tubi if you guys have that. They did a piece on.
We have Blaze.
Oh yeah, you probably find it on there.
Yeah, it's probably on
Unsolved Mysteries. That's a great show. They did a great piece on the Rendlesham Forest. I think it was back in 1993 or 4.
Yeah.
Really, Really great piece. So yeah, so and and talking to those guys, I've talked to Jim Peniston, who actually touched the craft,
Yes.
and all these guys have never wavered from their story, for all these
No.
years. Amazing.
Yeah, but it's like Alex that I met up with. He's been going there for years, and I've got his moderator Elaine. Her brother is coming on, a guy called Eric Savory. So he's
Okay.
coming on in a couple of weeks. He's been going there for forever. It's like
Nice.
it's literally his hotspot, if you know what I mean. But the other, someone's just put in the chat, the other airbase is Bentwaters.
Oh yeah.
That was it. I couldn't remember the name of it. So
Bentwaters,
they're quite close together. But as well, as you go down through towards Shingle Street, there's actually an open prison there. But it's like it's right out on the coast. You wouldn't even know it was there till you got there.
Wow.
So you get to a bridge and there's all signs saying like residents are not allowed to go past this point and what have you. But
Scary.
it's just there in the middle of on the edge of Rendlesham, because Rendlesham's right on the coast. I didn't realise till I started going around the area.
Oh yeah, it's right there. Yep.
Yeah. So, but it is an amazing place. I wanted to feel more from it when I went, and I was kind of a little bit disappointed that I wasn't getting the vibes. I was a bit disappointed that I wasn't getting the vibes that I was expecting to get.
Yeah, well, that'll happen.
I know.
You're expecting that. It's if you're not expecting that, then something else happens.
Yeah, but I did for a moment or so seeing what I think was an SS World War II German soldier. So the grey fleecy uniform. We're walking down the path chatting. I noticed somebody walking through the trees on my left, and then as I turned full on, obviously you don't see it in full vision. It had gone. So when I got back, I put the computer on. I thought I'll have a look at a World War II German uniform, and it was the same. I noticed he did have headgear on, but I didn't get, because as I turned to look, he'd gone, so I didn't see that. But the shape of the hat, it weren't the helmet, the hat was the shape of what I could see. And then a bit further down, Alex had said he'd been there a few years previous, and there was two, a pilot and co-pilot, German from World War II, and they said to him something like, "We're sorry for what we've done, and we apologise for what we're going to do."
Wow.
And he didn't tell me that, so I didn't tell him that I'd seen this thing. Then we got down to where this dip was, and they said, "Oh, this is where the pilot and co-pilot was."
Wow.
That he picked up on. I'm like, "Oh my god, that's what I've just seen," and I explained it, and it was like goosebumps everywhere.
Yeah, for sure. Wow.
I know. So it's just, even though there wasn't a lot, there was still them little things that made it worthwhile.
That's awesome, man. Very cool. Yeah, I hope people could tune in and see our and check out our video. We're going to be, so if they go on YouTube, they could check us out at Eric Mintel Investigates. And like I said, we're going to be premiering a brand new video pretty soon. Actually, I have one that's coming out in the next probably on Friday. I'm going to release this one we did for Haunted Rails, it's called. We basically did a video of a haunted railroad.
Ooh.
Pretty wild. So we're going to do that. And then they could find us on Facebook at Eric Mintel Investigates. I think I reached the maximum amount of people that can invite, but they could follow us on there because I post a lot of stuff on there as well.
Yeah.
And we've got some oh my God, we've got a case coming up where we're going to be doing a video on a guy that has over 700 vampire killing kits. It's a museum, and it's going to be spectacular.
I need to go and see this guy. Where does he live?
He's in our area. It's in Buckingham, Pennsylvania. But when you asked me earlier if I felt anything when I go into these places. This museum is one place that I felt in this one room. It was the energy was so dark.
So with these kits, because I have seen I suppose a medieval type version or Victorian should say, type. But have these been? I want to say the word used, but have they been tried out? I suppose.
I think so, because these are all coming from the 17 and 1800s.
Right.
He also has a vampire coffin carriage that was brought into the so like a horse-drawn carriage. He's got a carriage in there. It's all glass on every side that supposedly had a vampire in this carriage.
Wow.
So I'm wondering what's going to happen that night of the investigation, because we're supposed to go into this museum, and with all the energy that's going on there, I can't wait for Dominic to tune in on what's happening there.
Yeah. Could you do me a favor? Could you come back on after you've done that?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because I've been waiting. It's funny. I just put it up in the chat. I was actually talking to Nickname because she helps me with the guests and a bit of the research and that. We was actually talking about different genres in the paranormal, and one of them we were saying we've not done yet is vampires.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've been fascinated by that subject, and I'll tell you what, man, this is going to be really interesting, because he's got not only those vampire killing kits, he's got like exorcism tables there. He's got electric chair. He's got all kinds of weird, like, oh yeah, it's very weird. This is something that we have never done before, and every time I get out of there, I feel like I have to have a cleansing, because it's like, it's like you feel like you're like, oh man. But he's got some but the guy is so cool, and he's so knowledgeable as far as all the antiques go. He's a master antiquesman as far as that goes. So it's really, really cool. And we're probably going to do that one in January, because when this is all over with in October, I've got a ton of events now that we're going to be doing for screenings of our videos and everything in October. Then I go right into our, so I go from paranormal right into our jazz concerts for Charlie Brown Jazz.
You have to go with the cloak and the teeth and all that, all the get up.
Yeah, people would love that. But it's and then all of November and December are all booked, and then January we're going to start doing that video. January, February we have a whole slew of videos, and so it's going to be cool. And then in March, if you could get over here, man, that would be awesome. But in March of 2024, I'm putting together a huge paranormal convention here in Bucks County at a local college. And we're going to have 15 vendors. We're going to have speakers talking about everything from UFOs, ghosts, Bigfoot, Dogman, everything in between. And we're going to have vendors and everything. And we're going to make it like a Comic-Con type thing too. So.
Oh, right. Yeah.
But I don't think we're going to do that this year, but we're going to do, definitely that's the plans for the following year. Kind of keeping it a little bit on the small side, because I don't want to get too crazy this year, because I want it to be successful.
You don't want to throw too much and
I want to be able to make some money, you know. So but so that's going to happen. And then we've got a whole bunch of other stuff going on. Always got something going on for sure.
Excellent. Well, whenever you do anything, you just send the links over to me and I'll share them. I'll even stick them on the website if you need me to.
Oh, that'd be great. That'd be awesome. Well, I appreciate it, man. This is great. This is awesome.
Yeah, it is. You definitely need to come on more.
Oh yeah.
And stop blaming ET.
We can't make this every 6 months or a year or whatever.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's good to have you on. Great guy, honestly.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you, buddy. You too.
Yeah. So, right, I've got a couple of questions before you go, because we're coming up to the 50-minute mark now.
Absolutely.
So the first one is from Sober Carper, and he wants to know: Can Eric? Can't speak. Can Eric say what phenomena he's caught on camera, and also when will the shows be released?
Sure. So what we've caught on camera this time around for a lot of these videos, we caught. Like I said, we caught the yellow eyes for the Bigfoot. We just caught some major activity at this one location, orbs and shadow figure. So we're going to be getting that out there. That's a new video. And then a brand new video called What Waits at the Water Wheel Tavern. Very, very strange activity there. A lot of orb activity, a lot of residual energies, and Dominic saw a full body apparition.
Wow.
In this particular one. So that All of these videos
Yeah.
will be coming out. So figure after October 8th, they'll be out on Facebook and on YouTube.
So you're doing them weekly or every few days or once a month?
I'm going to do a big dump in October.
So just
so I'm just
all
gonna
on.
I'll put one a week out there.
Yeah. So are you doing it as a premiere on YouTube or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll do it premieres on YouTube and then on Facebook as well.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you. Anything you want to add before we wrap this up?
Just, keep a lookout for our YouTube channel, Eric Mintel Investigates. And, anybody, if there's any wealthy philanthropists over there that want to bring over a couple of paranormal guys to investigate some stuff, we're your guys.
Yeah. And vice versa. If there's any over there that want to come and get me and everyone, I'm definitely up for it.
For sure, man. That'd be fun.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it would. So let us know how you get on with Vampire Guy.
Definitely.
Yeah, I need to get one of those kits. I've seen people like posting them on Facebook saying they've been out and they've bought this and blah blah blah. Then I'm thinking, but have they bought it or is it just an image off Google?
Yeah, I don't know, but I'll tell you what, we're gonna have a full report when we get done this video. Yes.
So what I was gonna say, sorry, I just need to type something quickly. It's great having you on. It really is. There was something I was going to ask you, and it's completely gone. No, don't know. Don't know. I don't know what it was.
Andy was just hit by a paranormal pondering thought.
Oh, well, been wiped clean.
That just disappeared.
Nobody wants to know what I was going to ask you. That's what it was. No, it's been fantastic. I know you've got to get going because you got stuff to do.
Yeah. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate your time. This is always a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to say to you. So now I'm doing Tuesdays because I know you're busy doing Fridays with the quartet and the music and all that. So I'm now doing Tuesdays and Wednesdays.
Cool.
So if you're available on a Tuesday, that'd be great. So
I'll let you know for sure.
We keep in touch anyway, so it's all good.
Oh yeah, no problem.
Yeah, definitely. Right, massive thank you for coming on.
You got it, buddy. Good to see you again.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Will do. Thanks a lot, everybody.
And just find out what the connection is in this phenomena and let us all know.
Oh, definitely. We're on the case for sure.
Yes.
All right,
perfect.
guys. Have a good rest of the day.
Have a great time.
Talk to you soon, buddy.
Yep. Take care.
Bye-bye.
See you soon, Eric.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Right, Eric's had to go, so we are doing this in 2 parts. I do have another guest coming on after the break, so I'm going to do the break now. During that break, I'm going to send the link out, and then you will see guest number 2. So please do stick around, and we'll see you shortly.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Hello, welcome back. Just before I bring our guest on for part 2, just a quick update. I am going to be doing a short live stream tomorrow evening around about 7 o'clock. It'll be about 6 o'clock. So I don't collide with anyone else. Just about upcoming events that we've got in the next few weeks. So if you're interested, either go to the YouTube channel or the website or check it out tomorrow. So right, here is the next guest, and it is Mr. Nigel Impey. Good evening and welcome.
Hey Andy, pleasure to be here. How's it going?
Not bad. Sorry about yesterday. I was just felt like absolute. I was just
I heard your voice message. You sounded as rough as a bag of nails.
Just a little bit, and then I had the worst day ever in work. Actually, I had to do the full amount of hours that I'm supposed to do, and that's the first time in 4 years. So, wasn't impressed. But anyway, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining.
My pleasure.
Any questions, please do put them in the chat. Do you want to introduce yourself and explain to everyone?
Okay, right. Well, I live in the same town as our host here, Andy. Place called Northampton in the Western Midlands, or as it used to be called way back in the days, Mercia. Did you know that?
No idea.
There you go, you see. Anyway, I'm not originally from Northampton. I was born and raised in a small country town called Tring in Hertfordshire, which for those of you that don't know is about 30 miles due north of London by train from London Euston. I moved around the country a fair bit. I went to work on bus driving over at Stagecoach in Peterborough, and then transferred over to Northampton in about 2007-8 time. Anyway, life went on just plain normal, doing my bus driving job, and it got to eventually it got to sort of like about 2014, and then things took a change for a massive change, basically. My whole life changed. My first sighting, I can't remember exactly what date it was. It was coming up, I think it was for autumn time in 2014. I'd been sitting watching some UFO and aliens, the ancient alien programs, like up till about, I think it was about 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Decided, right, I'm going to call it a night, go and make myself a hot drink, go outside into the garden, have a cigarette, and then go to bed. So went out into the kitchen, poured myself a cup of tea, opened the kitchen door into the garden, and I looked out of the kitchen door, and it was a clear night, loads of stars, beautiful night, not even a breeze. It was just still. So I walked out of the kitchen door, turned right, walked into our little square garden we had at the time, and had a garden bench there. I've sat down on the garden bench, and I had a table next to me, put my drink down, and I'm just sitting there chilling, enjoying the peaceful night, thinking, yeah, lovely night, you know. And where I lived was actually on a hillside. You probably know Semilong in Northampton, Andy.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, a place called Stanley Street. So all the houses, all the houses are set into a hillside. And my house at the time was right near to the bottom of the hillside.
Yeah.
So I'm looking down to the bottom of the hillside, and at the end of the street there's a road that joins, which was called St Andrews Road.
Yeah.
And so that you know exactly where I'm talking about, there's a corner shop, and then there was the Galleon fish and chip shop.
Yes.
So I'm looking basically over the roof of this fish and chip shop, and I noticed this bright white ball of light sitting in the sky. Literally, it was. It must have been about what, less than 100 foot above the top of the building.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at it thinking, well, it can't be a star because it's too low and it's like too bright. It's not even, pulse, because stars, you can see the twinkle of a star.
Yeah.
This was just like a constant white, bright light. And then I'm thinking, plane? No, can't be a plane because there's no sound. And it wasn't flashing like navigation lights or anything. So I'm just sitting there scratching my head thinking, what the is it?
Yeah.
And I'm like just sitting there, reached down for my cup of tea to take a sip of my tea. As I've done so, I put the mug back down, looked up, and I'm thinking, hang on, that suddenly started moving.
Oh.
And it was totally silent, and it was just like it wasn't like it was drifting, it was actually like it was under intelligent control.
Yeah.
And it was just sort of like coming slowly and slowly and slowly towards me. By this time, I'm transfixed. I couldn't even take my eyes away from it. It was like it was as though I was being drawn into it.
Yeah.
And next thing, it's like literally come right over my head.
Yeah.
And I've literally just jumped straight up off the bench, looked up, turned around, and watched this thing as it went up the garden. Sorry, towards the top of the street, which would have been up to Semi-Long Road.
Yeah.
And obviously, you've got Semi-Long Road, and then you've got Barrack Road.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and it basically disappeared. Somebody had a huge, great big tree in their back garden, and it just sort of like went behind the tree, and that was it. I lost sight of it. Anyway, so like I thought, right, I need to get some answers. I'm standing there with my jaw to the ground, and I felt even like I felt the hairs of the back of my neck standing up, and I was like, what the was that? So I joined onto Facebook. Previous to that, I actually got in. I did have a cheap cell phone camera at the time. I took a couple of shots. I managed to capture a couple of shots anyway.
Yeah.
Didn't know what I was going to get out of it, but I managed to get something. Anyway, I got in touch with this guy because I looked online thinking I need, UFO experts or researchers or whatever, and I found this guy up in Yorkshire or somewhere. By the name of, I think it was Russ Kellett.
Yes.
And so I got in touch with him, mentioned what I'd seen, and basically he said, did I get any pictures of it? I was like, well, I managed to get a couple of shots. I don't know whether they're any good or not, because it was only, back then it was like, I think it was only about a 5 or 10 megapixel camera I had, so it wasn't brilliant.
Yeah.
And now look at it. Now we've got sort of like 50 plus megapixels or whatever. Anyway, so I sent off. He said email them to me. So he gave me his email. I sent the pictures off, and he phoned me back and he said, basically we have had other sightings similar to this. And I said to him, it definitely wasn't a plane though, was it? He went, no. And I said, it wasn't anything like a star or a planet. No. So I thought, right, well, I'm going to join Facebook because I want to get into some groups, find other people that have had experiences and, see what I can uncover. And, basically, I joined any and every group possible going. It was like, and I think it was about 3 or 4 nights after this sighting. Then things took a real surreal turn. I remember my partner going to bed. I'm on the couch, laying down on the couch, just chilling, watching some TV. Not any alien programs this time. And I'm laying there, and it's like, I don't even recall like going to sleep. 1 minute I'm watching TV, next minute I'm in this totally other place. It's like a darkish room, like subdued lighting around this room, like the glow was actually coming from like between the ceiling and the wall, like if you've got if you go on a coach trip at night, they have the LED lighting around the coach
Yes.
luggage. Yeah. It was like that, but the light was actually coming down across through the wall, like down the wall. It was like a bioluminescent sort of, like a purpley greeny sort of glow.
Oh right, okay.
Anyway, I'm sitting. I don't know whether I was sitting on a chair or a bench or what it was, but in front of me there was like what I can only describe was like out of a restaurant kitchen, like a catering kitchen table, like made out of brushed stainless steel, like a metal table, which was just over sort of like, if you're sitting down, it was just over like knee height, so you could sit there with your knees underneath. Anyway, the other side of this table, to my left slightly, was what I can only describe as one of the greys.
Yes.
It was more like a whitish grey, though, and I don't know whether it was one of the short ones or whether it was one of the tall ones, but it was a grey. So no communication with it. It just sat there. It wasn't even really like looking at me. But next thing, there wasn't any doors, walls all the way around. Next thing, behind the grey suddenly appeared this 8 to 9 foot tall reptilian humanoid.
Yeah.
And you've seen my profile picture on Facebook.
Yes.
And basically, it was, the facial features looked like that, but it wasn't sort of like a grey colour like that one. It was more like a green. It had scales similar to, if anyone knows what an iguana lizard looks like, the scale pattern of that. He had thick muscular body with thick legs which went down into clawed feet. And he had slightly shorter arms than normal humans, but they still were quite long, which had clawed hands, but it was able to grip, because he was holding something. I don't know what it was he was holding, but it looked like some document or something. I don't know what it was. Anyway, as he walked from behind the grey, I suddenly noticed the back of him, there was like between 2 to 4 foot long tail, which started off thick and went down to drooped down to a point. As he's got level with my eyesight, he's literally turned round, stared right into my eyes, and I felt like a warm glow come through me from head to foot, like an energy. And basically, in my mind, he spoke to me in my mind, and he said, "Don't be afraid. We're not here to harm you." And this was what really freaked me out. He said that you're important. You're one of us.
Oh,
Yeah. And I'm like, really? Anyway, he said to me after that, he said, you will find out more information over the course of time.
yeah.
And then he raised a clawed hand to me, like to gesture, and turned around, walked off, and then just vanished.
Oh,
And then I literally, bearing in mind, before I was laying down on the couch,
yeah,
I suddenly came to, I was bolt upright on the couch,
yeah.
and I just exclaimed to myself, that wasn't a dream.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So has anything happened since then regarding this encounter?
Yeah, I mean, since then, I've had, memories coming back. They've told me basically about that I was placed here when I was born, actually born on Earth through my Earth mother, but I was placed into my mother, so to speak.
Oh,
And I always knew, after looking back on my childhood,
yeah,
pardon me, I looked back on my childhood and I started to put pieces together thinking, well, it's like from sort of like age 5 onwards, I knew that I was different to other kids. I didn't get on well with other kids. I was bullied. I was taken the mick out of,
yeah,
and I had hardly any friends. I think I had, when I went up to secondary school, I think I had one friend, and funnily enough, his name was a Nigel as well. I don't know, coincidence or what, but but yeah, I had a bad sort of like upbringing. I mean, my mother, she was lovely. My mum, well, she still is lovely. But my dad, on the other hand, I had a feeling that my dad came across as like he run the house like a draconian regime.
right,
He was very nasty to I mean, when I was little, I'd hear him shouting at my mum through the floorboards.
yeah,
I'd come down to check on my mum, and he'd be yelling, "Get up those stairs before I give you something to cry for," and all this. So I have a feeling that my dad might have been one of the bad reptilians, the Dracos, the Alpha Dracos. I swear
right,
it.
yeah,
Because the way he treated me, my mum, my sisters, it was, not good.
yeah,
But my mum, on the other hand, she was totally the opposite. So, and my dad, I think my dad didn't like, he knew that I wasn't actually his,
right,
his offspring, basically. I think that's why he was, because, he used to go fishing and he'd take me fishing with him when I was little. And, he wouldn't have the patience to sit there and help me. If I got my line in a tangle across the other side of the bank or whatever,
yeah,
it'd be like, oh, I suppose I've got to bloody stop what I'm doing and sort you out now. It was like that sort of thing.
right, okay,
And yeah, or if my line snapped to, he'd really like. Anyway, but getting back to what after that, coming back to present time, nowadays, I mean, I went through a patch where I'd get the odd sighting here and there.
yeah,
But, I mean, you were saying to Eric that things have, like, really sort of like, things are getting, a lot more these days.
yes,
I mean, only the other night, I had 12 sightings within the space of, I'll say, an hour.
wow,
And I know the difference before anyone says anything. I know the difference between planes, drones, etc. I lived
Yeah.
near an RAF base when I was a kid. I know what the aviation lights and everything look like, and what planes and everything should sound like. I've witnessed lights where there's either been no sound at all. There's been sounds that don't tie in with aircraft. They sound more like an electrical transformer hum rather than a jet engine. I've had lights appear in the sky, and before I can even get my phone out to video them, it's literally like somebody's hit a light switch and they've gone out like that.
Just gone straight off.
Yeah.
Oh. So, have you had any more encounters with these off-worldly creatures, should we say?
Oh yeah. I've actually been inside a craft, and I've been shown basically the whole craft, how it operates, the propulsion system, which is based on electromagnetic propulsion, which uses, of all things, technology that we've already got, which basically makes you wonder where we get all our technology from, by the way. The technology for this EM drive comes straight from a microwave oven.
Oh.
It's the magnetron, which is what creates the microwave energy that cooks the food.
Right.
But what it does, they channel it through. It's like goes through a cone, and it turns into thrust. And basically, it's like they already use it in space, in thrusters and spacecraft already.
Yeah.
So it makes you wonder, good old military cover-ups and lies. Yeah, our scientists make this. No, they get it, but they don't tell you where they get it from.
No. I don't think they ever will tell us where it comes from.
I mean, look at this, this latest sort of like thing from NASA that supposedly they're supposed to be coming out with some answers, and wonder how long that's going to take.
Well, they're dragging the feet on it, so I ain't guessing it's going to be anytime soon until this big thing that's supposed to be happening in the next month or so happens.
Yeah.
So, got a question for you from Jo, the moderator. Sure. She wants to know, hi, Nigel. So there are good and bad. I'm guessing she's on about reptilians. Mm-hmm. Are the good ones here to help humanity, and what are the bad ones after? Right.
Jojo, yeah. Hiya, Joe. How are you? There are good ones, or as I prefer to call them, benevolent.
Yeah.
That's what I was told that they, because good is but benevolent is actually what they told me that they are. And basically, they are here to help humanity. I've actually been told that I am an ambassador for Earth relations, and that my mission is actually to awaken people to their existence, to expose what's going on with the government, the military, all that sort of the darker side of things. But also to spread peace, love, and light, which is the three things that they keep repeating to me.
Yeah.
And to to raise people, because they said to me that basically the only way we are going to win this is against the dark side is by raising vibrational energy, positive energy, trying to keep the vibration's high, because basically we are a magnetic, basically like a radio transceiver.
Right. Okay.
And basically what we need to do, everybody needs to do this from time to time, because if you don't, you get a lot of negative energy build up. You need to ground yourself to get rid of this negative energy, and basically go out into the grass, even onto, if you haven't got grass, you know, like, as long as you've got flat surface, to take your shoes and socks off, and then basically ground yourself. And if you want to attract the good positive beings and craft, just project in your mind. You can even do it verbally, like my friend Les Durant. I showed him how to do it, and since I've shown him how to do it, bang, he's had sightings.
Ah. Yeah, so Joe actually mentioned it to me a couple of months ago. I just thought it's one of those. It's like, yeah, I'll do it, but you just never get round to doing it. So I think I need to start listening more to people, and
yeah, I mean, because as well with all the hours of work you're putting in your shows and it, this attack of this bug that you've had is a bit of a warning sign that you need to do some of this grounding, because you're building up a lot of negative energy. I wouldn't say negative energy as such, really, but you know, you're basically, your body is telling you that you need to refresh. You need to. Because my friend Les Durant, only the other day, I've noticed that he was looking very tired, very worn out, because he's actually a country music DJ in Georgia, and yeah, he works for a country music channel called Mountain Country in Georgia. They play some brilliant music, by the way. And they stream all over the world. So I think it's 107.3 FM or something. They've got a streaming channel anyway. And they play some brilliant music, and they have some great guests and everything on there. And it's good to chill with as well. It really is. But anyway, he was in his car the other day, and because he was so worn out and tired from doing his work and his UFO stuff and his podcast and everything else, he ended up totaling his car.
Oh.
Yeah, he got distracted. He was at a right turn lane in the States, and a woman in front of him, and he smacked straight into the side of her. Luckily enough, him and the woman in the car weren't hurt. Nobody else was hurt. But I said to him, you know, after that, I said, look, you've got to slow things down, mate. You've got to ground more. I said, you've got to get yourself to bed early. You've got to take some warm milk, some honey in that milk, and just ground yourself.
Yeah, just chill a bit.
Yeah.
No, I know. I need to. I need to do the dowsing rods and all that as well. But I've just a little bit busy at the moment. So
yeah, I know what you mean.
I mean, one day I'll get there.
Just don't end up like, you know, as I say, you know, you drive for a living. You know, you're driving a bigger than average car. You know, you're driving a van. And you know, I mean, what is it, 3.5 ton weight? So
but the one I've got now is only about 1.5, 2 ton.
Oh right. Oh, it's one of the short wheelbase.
It used to be the big one, but it was doing me head in. Couldn't get anywhere because of all the low bridges, so I asked him for a smaller one.
But yeah, I mean, it's like me when I used to drive the buses. You know, I mean, you know, it's a big responsibility. Even driving a small van, I was driving a bus, double deck bus, which is like all in weight. I guess you're talking about 16 ton.
Yeah.
You know, and you've only got to get distracted 1 second, and yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know,
No, I was gonna.
I'll tell you what.
Oh, sorry. Go on. It's all right. I'll do it in a minute.
I was listening to what you were saying about this when you did that cast the other day, and you were just saying to Eric about it. The guy with the guy/woman with the dog.
Oh yes. Well, that was one of
Where
the weirdest
where
things
was
that
this?
ever happened to me. That was in
Where-
Leicester.
In Leicester.
Yeah. So just outside the centre, probably about 2-3 mile.
Well, on the road that you like, basically the main road in.
No, it was on a housing estate. So it was
Oh,
like
right.
there's a couple of little estates, but this was on the road. So it was like the old like terrace, and you got a few semi-detached and what have you. And it's just there, just as I'm pulling up, a bloke walks across the road, and then when he gets to the other side, he's a woman. But I didn't see any transition. But I wasn't looking. I'm getting my paperwork ready, my scanner, and getting my stuff ready to do the drop. And it's like, well, that ain't the same person. And the only reason that I know it was the same person is because of the dog. If they didn't have a dog, I wouldn't have known. I just thought it was somebody else. And I know
that when you did the cast and you said about this originally, saying about like, could it have been that it was actually like, you know,
residual.
The spirit, residual, yeah.
See, it could have been because, like I said, as I'm driving away and I'm looking to my right, there's no one there. There's no point looking at the left because the point of the road where they crossed was on turning into where these houses are. After that, it's just a field, and it's just like a chain link fence all the way down. So if it had been on my left-hand side, you'd have clearly seen them. But it was stood on the right-hand side, and it was only about 2-3 seconds, and there's no way they could have got this. There was easily in the 70s. There's no way they could have got out of sight that quick.
They
wasn't happening.
They weren't didn't suddenly develop superpowers like Supergran.
Oh, I'm saying. Well, that's the thing they could have done because
you never know.
There was a man, then it was a woman, and then it was nothing. So,
is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's Supergran.
Yeah, but it's just the way that the then wasn't there. There was no trace.
Yeah, I mean, I've had I've had some weird. Apart from the UFO stuff, I've actually experienced some paranormal stuff as well.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, have you had any encounters while you've been doing the bus driving, like with passengers that weren't actually passengers or anything like that?
I've had because I used to do a nightclub bus where I would drive my car from Northampton all the way down to a town called Hemel Hempstead. You know Hemel Hempstead.
Yeah.
Basically, where our bus yard was right near Hemel Hempstead railway station.
Yes.
Place called London Road, and I used to have to go down there. Like we did. Basically, we did a student night, which was taking university students from the University of Hertfordshire, which is in Hatfield, just off the A1, at the big roundabout off the A1. We'd pick them up from the main campus there, and then they had a secondary campus, which was the de Havilland campus, which was basically on the site of the former de Havilland Aircraft Works.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, because if you go around there, all the roads around that campus are all named after de Havilland aircraft, like the Gypsy Moth, the the Mosquito, Comet Way, yeah. So anyway, I'd basically go on a Tuesday night, which was the university student night. It used to be so busy, we'd have like 3 or 4 bus loads on there. We'd ferry them in from the club, from the university into the nightclub in St Albans, which was called Batchwood Hall.
Yeah.
And this was an old mansion house, and they had a golf course there and everything. And I'd ferry them there from like 9 or 10 at night till I think the last admission was about 1:30 in the morning into the club. And then we used to get time off till sort of like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning and reverse it, take them back again. Anyway, whilst doing this, when I was driving down there from Northampton to Hemel Hempstead this one night, I was driving along. Rather than go on the motorway, I would drive down through Rotherthorpe, Gayton Marina, all down the little country lanes.
Yeah, round the
and
back.
Come out to Stoke Bruin.
Yes.
Yeah, onto the Milton Keynes Road, and then go down the A5 to Hemel Hempstead that way. Anyway, I was driving along through these country roads this one night, and I looked to my right side of the car, and behind the trees, between the trees, I could notice this light. It was like 3 lights, like in a triangle shape.
Yeah.
And literally, it was like tracking my car. It was tracking alongside the car, and I just kept glancing out, and it was there, just following me, keeping up with my car. And then I got to this point in the road where the trees broke, and there was sort of like some bushes rather than trees, and I could see this thing more clearly. And then all of a sudden, this thing just like came across the roof of my car, like diagonally across the roof of my car. And then I looked over to the left, and it went across this field and just vanished.
Oh. And never seen again.
Yeah. And also, as well as doing the university on the Tuesday night, sometimes I would do a Friday and a Saturday down there, but it wasn't the university. It was like just ferrying people from St Albans town centre to the club and back. So it was like just a short little shuttle, like, you know.
Right, yeah.
And you know, sometimes I'd just do one night, like the Friday. Sometimes I'd do both, Friday and Saturday. If I did both nights, rather than waste petrol to come home from Hemel to Northampton to go back the next night, what I'd do, I'd take a sleeping bag with me, and I'd keep in the car, find a country spot out of the way, because in the bus yard it was like bright security lights, and I couldn't really get much of a kip, you know. So I'd find a farm field, like an entrance to a farm gate, you know, or somewhere with a little lay-by or something, and park up out of the way. And, you know, while I was doing that, I quite often would see, on one occasion I saw these, like a red and I think it was a red and a green light, that would pop up from behind trees.
Oh.
And then they'd drift down again. Sorry?
Did that happen regular?
I had regular different, like, I've even seen ones where it's been like, you know those kids' toys that you used to get a little, like, square ring, like a boxing ring, and you had these spinning tops.
Oh, yes.
Battling tops, or whatever they call them.
Yeah.
And you'd pull a cord, and it'd go spinning round.
Yeah.
Well, the shape of those, they were like cones, yeah?
Yes.
Now, I've seen these objects not spinning, but they just like drifting up from behind trees, and they were sort of like a grey, blacky colour.
Right.
There was one came up from behind this tree, and it hovered up for about 2 or 3 seconds, and then slowly drifted back down again.
Oh.
And then there was about a gap between them. I think maybe 2 or 3 trees gap between them. And then I noticed another one from the other side came up, drifted up in the air 2 or 3 seconds, went back down again.
Oh, so what do you think? What do you think they were?
I think they got to be craft again. It was like, but it was just so unusual to see, like, actually, and this was before it even got dark.
Yeah.
You know, it was like I was passing a little lay-by at the side of the road, and there was a field which went back onto like a woodland.
Yeah.
And they were behind the trees at the back of this woodland.
Oh. So how big were they, would you say? Were you able
I
to
would
judge
say
the size of them?
I would say they'd got to be about well, from the distance I was at. I mean, you're probably looking at the size of maybe, I don't know, maybe the size of an average sized car, I guess.
Right. So pretty big.
Yeah.
Yeah. But not massively big.
Well, when I say average size, I mean like you've got an estate car, haven't you?
Yeah.
About that sort of size, I'd say.
Oh, right. So what? So at least 8-9 foot long.
Yeah. Well, tall.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
It started off sort of like, you know, like a thick part of the top, and then it went down to like a dome at the bottom, you know those screwball ice creams that you used to get as a kid?
Oh, yeah. It was a cone, and it tapers down, and it's a ball.
Yeah, like that sort of size, like that sort of shape.
Ah, right. That's I've seen videos with similar looking objects on it, like what you're talking about. Yeah, I suppose it's like an upside down pyramid, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that is very interesting. We have got a couple of questions for you.
Yeah, sure.
We've got about 5-10 minutes left. Is that okay?
Yep.
So I'll do them in order that they've come through. First one's from Joe, moderator. Does Nigel think we will get disclosure?
Oh, that is a very good question, Jojo. Well, are we going to ever get disclosure? Well, if it's left to the government and the military, probably not. But that's where we're all coming in, you see. We're the ones that are pushing for it. And if we push hard enough, they're not going to have any choice in the matter.
But do you not think, though, that with what you've just said and like the question, do you think we're going to get disclosure, that we are the ones that are giving the disclosure? So the government don't really have to. They can just sit back and watch and let us do their dirty work.
Exactly, yeah.
Because that's pretty much what we're doing.
Exactly, yeah.
Isn't it?
You know, we're the ones that are getting the sightings. We're the ones that are putting it out there. You know, and they're just sitting there like, oh well, you know, we don't need to tell the truth because they're already doing it. Yeah.
No, thank you for that. I've got 2 more questions. Next one is from Nickname. She's had to go because she's got stuff to do, but she will be watching it. So is saying, "Hi Nigel, do you know when you will be visited before it happens? So do you get any
Um,
notification or any feeling or anything?"
yeah, I do actually. Basically, I just get like I get a feel that I have to come outside, or I'll suddenly have something go over the roof of my house,
Right.
really loud. Like, I mean, I'm talking like planes don't fly at sort of like 100 foot across your rooftop.
No, not in
You know,
Northampton anyway,
no,
because there's no
um,
flight path really. Not for low flying ones, other than
no,
military.
no. I mean, that's the thing. You know, I've had people, Andy, that are saying, "Oh, do you check flight radar?" Yes, I do.
Yeah.
And nothing shows up. And then
No.
they try saying to me, "Well, you are on a busy flight path. You've got Luton, you've got Birmingham, you've got whatever, you know." But I know for a fact that you know, aircraft don't fly sort of like between your street or over your rooftop.
No, not round. Like you said, we are close to like Birmingham, Luton, even the London airports.
Yeah,
And there's a few smaller ones. So you've got the
uh,
military Brize Norton at Oxford. You've got Cambridge
yeah.
airport.
You've got Lake and Heath, Mildenhall.
Yeah, so you've got all them, and most of them are military. But you've got Cambridge, which is mainly like aircraft. You do get a few military ones going over there. I know because I've seen them.
I mean,
But
you used to.
you're not
You
on a you're not on a flight path as
no,
such.
no.
And
I
then you've
mean,
got well, I was just going to say you've got Sywell Airport,
Cyber, yeah,
which is literally my back garden.
yeah.
And even when there's aircraft, there was an air show there this weekend. Did I
Mm.
hear anything? No. I was at home all weekend, didn't hear anything, didn't say, and that's less
I
than a
mean,
mile from where I live.
I that ties in actually because I did see a couple of unusual aircraft come over actually on the weekend.
And that'd be why. It's only because I
Yeah,
pass it some mornings on the way to work, depending where
yeah.
the traffic is. And I went
I do
past
know.
on Monday. I was just going to say I went past Monday because there'd been an incident on the way that I normally go in. So I was going past, and you've got the field opposite, what they use
Mhm.
for having camper vans, motorhomes, tents, and all that.
Oh yeah, I know because
So
I've driven.
so they were all where the pellet
Yeah,
places. So they were all
yeah,
pouring
yeah,
out there Monday morning. So I was like,
yeah.
and these signs up saying an air show. It's like, well, I've been at
Mm,
home all weekend and seen nothing.
mm,
So if I live right next to it and don't say anything,
yeah.
I'm not going to see something that we're not supposed
I
to
mean,
see.
but you know, I know what what type of aviation comes out of Sywell. You know, I mean, I know that
Yeah,
there's nothing that ties in with what I've witnessed. You know, I mean, they've got
no,
a couple of old warplanes there. They've got a Spitfire. They've got
yeah. They've got a Spitfire. They've got a couple of biplanes, and
they've
every
got
so
they've
often,
got an American. American, what's it? Like a Spitfire, but the sort of like an American one.
yeah, I don't
I
know the
can't
name. I know
remember
what
the
you
name.
mean. But
Um,
on a Friday afternoon around about 3-4 o'clock, usually in the summer, you see the Red Arrows training. So it's
oh
obviously
yeah,
it's not
yeah,
the jets that they normally fly; it's the training planes.
yeah,
So
yeah.
you see them in like a 5-plane formation going
Mm.
round and doing smoke and all that. But other than
Yeah,
that, oh,
I see the Red Arrows come over here quite often.
yeah,
and because they used to they used to have 9 planes. Now they've only got 8.
yeah. Well, I always
So
see 5, and they're like the same colour blue as what our names are in. It's like a
mm,
sky baby blue colour. The jet, well, they're not
yeah,
even jets; they're just
uh,
planes. But I
but
know
yeah,
also because we're not that far from Silverstone, there are a lot of
mm.
helicopter flight paths that go across.
Oh yeah.
especially when the Grand Prix and all that's on. So,
Yeah.
but other than that,
But
there's nothing.
yeah,
There's not
I
a lot of
mean,
aircraft in this area.
no. And I've looked it up. You know, I've actually, I don't know what is going on with. There's one particular type of. I don't know what it is, but it doesn't sound like any normal plane that I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Instead of it doesn't make a normal jet engine sound. It makes like a really like howling sound
All right.
rather than like a normal jet whoosh. This makes sort of more like a real screeching howling. I don't know what, but I've looked at it. I've seen it in clear sky. It looks like one of these big, what do you call it? Like the Strato Fortress or whatever they call them. Big military transport craft,
Oh, yeah, I know what you mean. I don't know the names of them.
like a B-52 or something like that.
Yeah.
But this thing, it doesn't sound like, because you can tell those things because they're like either 4 big jets or the old ones had 4 big props, and you can hear them a mile off. But this thing, it looks similar to that, but it doesn't sound like it. It sounds more like a howling sound.
I don't know. Like you said, I don't hear or see anything other than the ones on a Friday afternoon. So interesting. Right. So sorry, go on.
Any more questions?
Yeah, I've got one more, and then we will have to come to an end. Is that all right?
Yeah, that's fine.
But I said we'll get you back on soon anyway. Once get the Tuesdays
cool.
up and running.
Yep.
So this is from Ogate. I think that's how you pronounce it. And she wants to know: do you ever recognise any people like yourself, Nigel?
Yeah, that's a good question. That I don't know. I can sense other people like myself, especially people within the Facebook community. When I get new friend requests, and I can, I tend to sort of like bond with others that even before I know who they are, and then then I'm chatting in Messenger, and all of a sudden they'll come out with, "Oh yeah, I'm one too." It's like I knew it.
Yeah.
But as in regards to in everyday life, I have had occasions where I felt something, off of people, even just sort of like walking past somebody or something, and I felt I can feel an energy from them.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I did have though one day, which totally freaked me out. I was literally walking from my house to the local shop early hours of one morning, like the shop opens at 5 a.m. I needed to get some cigarettes and a drink, so I've gone there. Before I've even got to the shop, there was, bearing in mind this is 5 a.m. Hardly anyone is ever out at 5 a.m. in the morning.
No.
You'll get the odd couple of people that are going for their newspaper before they go to work or whatever.
Yeah.
But these 2 guys, they were walking the opposite way to where the shop is.
Right.
And literally, one of them, as I've gone past him, one of them's turned round, and I heard him say, he didn't say it in voice, it was in my head. I heard, "There's Snake Man."
Oh.
And then he turned round to the other guy and started laughing.
Right.
And looking at his face, I couldn't make any facial features either.
Oh. That is weird. Joe's just put in the chat, but that's weird. I was just reading out what she said, but that is really weird.
And literally, as soon as I'd got past, I turned around after, because it took me by surprise. You don't expect that sort of thing to happen at 5
No.
a.m. in the morning. You know, you're just going there bleary-eyed, thinking, "Oh, I need me cigarettes, I need me drink," and then
Yeah.
you get that, and then I just turn round, they weren't there anymore.
Oh. That's even weirder. That's
Yep.
similar to, like, I know it's not the same, exactly the same, but for someone to be there and then you look again and they've completely got, and there's nowhere they could have gone.
No, because it was literally on the main road that goes that comes down. They were walking from Whedon Road from like Sixfield side,
Oh, yeah.
heading towards where Iceland is.
Right. Oh, there's nowhere to go there.
No,
Unless you cut through the car park where you said you got Iceland and where Audi used to
no,
be.
they were exactly on the same side of the road as me, and literally within, I'm talking a couple of seconds,
And then
they're gone.
nothing. It's very, very strange.
Yep.
It really is. Right, we are going to have to end it there. But
Okey-dokey.
thank you for coming on. I do apologise for yesterday.
No, that's
But-
fine. That's fine. I understand because, you know, I mean, obviously you're not going to be able to concentrate on weather with a stinking cold.
No, that's the worst bit. And the thing, I always get in my sinuses as well. So
Yeah.
it's having to read stuff and then I've got a banging headache. It's just,
Yeah,
just
no
deep
problem.
paracetamol early night. So that was it. But no, thank you so much for coming on. Really do appreciate it. Thank you,
Been a
Eric, for
pleasure,
coming
man.
on in the first half. That was great as well.
Yeah, Eric's. I just wanted to say, you know, Eric, you're a legend, man. It's like, you know, yeah.
Definitely. He's
And
a top guy.
I'd love to get him on my channel as well sometime.
He is one of the most difficult people to get on any channel anywhere because he
Yeah.
does so. He's doing so because he's in a quartet and he's out
I
doing
know,
music.
you're saying
all the
about.
time, plays the piano. He's out investigating.
Oh, wow.
He's got his own channel. He's literally on the TV every other day. So
Wow.
I've had to wait. We arranged him coming on 6 months ago, and we've had to put it back twice. It's just because we both wasn't available on the same time. So he says, "Right, I can do 45 minutes today." It's like, yes, perfect.
I'm gonna have to I'm gonna have to see if I can find his jazz quartet and listen to something because I love jazz music.
Just type his name in on YouTube, you will find him. Promise you.
Yeah.
So, just want to say before we go, massive thank you for everyone for coming on. Everyone in the chat, thank you to everyone who's listening on podcast. The podcast is now going out to 11 different countries, including Norway, Spain, Italy, Bangladesh, New Zealand, China, and wherever else, without looking off the top of my head. So thank you everyone that subscribes on podcast. Thank you everyone who helped me hit the 900 mark on YouTube subscribers. Are now at 903. I just want to get to 1,000 before November, not before Christmas. So fingers crossed. And then once I get to 1,000, I will shut up about people subscribing to YouTube as long as it stays at the 1,000 mark or more. But I just want to let you guys know who's coming on. So on Friday, we've got Brian SK, Sir Brian M. Bowden, coming on Friday. Next Tuesday, I've got Paul Blake Smith talking about the 1941 Missouri UFO incident. Then on Wednesday, the 4th, got Amanda Quill. She's going to be talking about spirit animals. Next Friday, there is no stream because I'm out at a party, a family gathering. And then on the 11th of October, we have Preston Dennett coming on. Now, he's going to be talking to us, doing a step-by-step on how to astral project. So he's going to help out the ones that are getting stuck, like myself, that can only get so far, or for people that just want to start off doing it and go from there. And then on Friday the 13th, we've got Steve Ward, who's the curator of the Mothman Museum in Point Pleasant. So
Friday the 13th.
yes, that'll be good. I love Friday the 13th. They're one of my favourites.
Yeah, I know. People say, "Oh, Friday the 13th, watch out!" But do you know what? The amount of Friday the 13th, I've never had anything bad happen.
No, I've not. I remember a tile fell off the wall in school once, and that was about it. That's probably the creepiest thing that's ever happened on one of them days. Right, so I'm going to end this now. So, if you go into the private chat, Joe has put up Eric's YouTube channel.
Okay.
So what I shall do, I don't know why Joe didn't do this. I will copy and paste it onto here, and then I'll put it up on the screen, and then if you watch it back, you can just pause it and copy it down and go from there.
Cool.
There
Yep.
we go.
Brilliant.
YouTube, Eric Mintel Quartet. So that's it.
Great
So
stuff.
that's who we've got coming up. We are going back to Cannock at the end of next month. I'm going to be talking about that tomorrow. I'm going to try and do that around about 6 o'clock tomorrow evening. Most of the details are already on the website. Other than that, that's everything. Thank you again, Nigel, for coming on.
My pleasure.
Thank you. And everyone have a great 48 hours, and we'll
Yep.
see you when I can find my videos. I'll see you on Friday at 8 o'clock. Take care, everyone, and goodbye.
Goodbye.